Welcome to another Zoom. I have a young man, and I mean he's young. I'm 82. This guy is so young, he could be my great grandson. Not quite, not quite. His name is Josh Burnette. Am I saying that right?
Burnette.
Burnette. Okay, I saw that E on the end, and I thought maybe I should emphasize that. Josh Burnette, and you are where?
I'm in Yorktown, Virginia.
Let me share a little about Josh because you know what he looks like. He's a Chick-fil-A owner, operator. He's an author, husband, dad. His passion is investing in young people through his restaurant and the work. Now you're involved actually in, was it Young Life?
Young Life, that's correct.
And what aspect did you have in that particular ministry?
I've been all over. I was a student that was involved and then a leader, and I actually even went on staff with Young Life as well for a short time before Chick-fil-A.
So did you kind of give them a rah-rah speech, or how did that work?
In terms of, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, a motivational, you know, these like these Young Life, this is, if you want to make something out of yourself, here's the way you do it, that kind of thing.
It was very relationally driven, and that has really poured into how I even lead my business today, is really investing one-on-one in relationships. I'm not the stand up in front of large crowds kind of guy. I really
Are you an introvert?
A little bit, yes, absolutely.
Now you are right now, when you finish this, you're going to go back to your Chick-fil-A operation, right?
That is correct.
And how many people working for you?
About 165.
Wow.
Yes.
And
it's a big operation.
It's like you get up at what time in the morning?
Typically around 6 when my 3-year-old wanders in.
Okay. So you get to the operation at what time?
Between 8 and 9.
And do you have people already there?
Oh, yes. So people arrive. There is somebody in the building 24 hours a day, but most of the prep team arrives around 4 a.m. and then we close up and turn the lights off around 11.
Now, obviously, with not that many people, you have sick individuals that can't show up. Schedule has to be changed. That's a real.
Oh, yes. We have a wonderful scheduler that, God bless her, it takes up a ton of effort and time, but she does a fabulous job balancing the needs of 165 folks. Sometimes they're full-time, sometimes part-time, a lot of students in that mix. So we have to accommodate school schedules and sports. And she just does a masterful job at caring for the team well. And we've really realized that scheduling is the number one thing that people care about. And so we want to honor that the best that we can in our business.
What is the best decision you made in your life?
Oh my goodness. Other than following Jesus, marrying my wife.
That's a good start right there.
There we go.
Now when you met your wife, I mean, was it like love immediately, or did you have to work on that?
So we actually met through a Chick-fil-A internship. So I joked about this earlier, but we have a Chick-fil-A-ship, and we became really close friends over this summertime marketing internship that we did, and started dating after that. And yes, that relationship just grew and deepened, and we dated long distance for about 3 years between my traveling for Chick-fil-A as well as going on staff with Young Life, and got married back in 2012.
Now you're on a number of boards, right?
I've been a part of Young Life Committee as well as Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And then I do a lot of different things with Chick-fil-A for sure.
Well, your wife would not have to ask you all the time, why are you spending this much time, or why do you have to go? Because she knows, doesn't she? She's been trained also.
Yes, indeed. She understands the business well. And before we had kids, she was even very involved in the business, which was very special to be able to showcase to our team of like, here's what a marriage can look like. And you get to see us day to day. And especially the young ladies that worked in the team just loved working around Katie. She was such a bright light to them.
Now, if somebody wanted a Chick-fil-A franchise,
yes,
it would cost how much, right, in 2021?
Great question. And the short answer is $10,000. I would encourage you to go online and look through the qualifications of that. So the last time I looked, Chick-fil-A received about 60,000 expressions of interest in the course of a calendar year, and they selected about 60 people to be owner operators.
My goodness.
So it's really not about the capital investment as much as it is more around the selection process and criteria.
Wow.
Yes, it's a wonderful, unique brand to be a part of, and I'm very thankful. So again, some of those numbers may have changed. I don't want to speak for Chick-fil-A corporate, but it is a very challenging brand to get into.
It's almost like a professional basketball team or something. They've got to select you. You
yes,
may have.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's how it shakes out.
What is your purpose? I mean, adulting.
Yep.
Is the reason we're together.
Yes.
It's 101. This is the second book, right?
That's correct.
And this is the most unusual book because I cover a lot of authors, and there again I select. Okay, I get a stack of people that want to be on.
I'm sure.
But this is the most unusual book of its kind because it even has a marker like you would do in a Bible, and I look at it and go, well, it could be a coffee table book. Mm-hmm. You could use it for that, but I mean, it is so unusual written, but it's actually written for probably what, people 20 to 30 and in that range?
That's exactly right. So both adulting books are geared for the student launching into the real world. So that could be anybody from 18 to their late 20s. And I mean, we really find it to be a wonderful reference tool. So to your point around like even a bookmark, some people will read it straight through, and then others, depending on where they're at or what they want to learn about, might just jump to an isolated section and just read that. And I think
14
it's
chapters, right?
Yes, it's a very quick read. So we don't belabor any points or make something, we're not very redundant. It goes very quickly. So you can read a chapter in isolation.
Now you're Josh, but tell me about Pete, because he co-wrote this, right?
So
in fact, Pete has more chapters than you do.
I'd like to think I helped him along with those chapters, but yes. So Pete was actually my boss at in Young Life while at James Madison University, and Pete was a pivotal character in teaching me a lot of these adulting skills. And when all of his seniors in college would go to graduate, he actually went through Pete's packet of life wisdom. And it was 8 pages of like yellow paper of all of the wisdom that he has acquired over the years. And then at the very end, he would actually take all of us grocery shopping and teach us the right way to go to grocery shopping. And he was other than my parents, one of the first people that really poured in an adulting kind of way. And the way that bridges over to the Chick-fil-A world is I would share pieces of that packet over the years with my different teams. And I quickly realized that of the whole email I would send, the only part the team would read was Pete's life wisdom part. Yes. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, I think that there is a need, at least in my workplace, to share this information with others. I have a group of students that are great kids, but just need a little bit of direction. And Pete was kind enough to get on board because I told him I was either going to steal all of his information or he could write it with me. And we wrote the first book. And really the difference between the two is book 1, all about hard skills. It's budgeting, it's finance, it's time management, it's doing well in a workplace. Book 2, we really realized after getting feedback from some of the readers and the people that are close to us in our lives that this applies to is, hey, we need a clearer picture of healthy adulthood. So they want to do well in life and care, again, deeply about success and just living life to the fullest. But that is healthy adulthood is not always modeled, whether it was in the home or at school or wherever they might be at. And so book 2, we almost wrote them backwards to some degree. This is much more about the soft skills and the inner person. Book 1 is how do you make a budget? How do you buy a car?
And that definitely is quality information. But I think back in my young days that I wish I would have had that. And here you are a young guy in your 30s. So you can use all of that information.
Absolutely.
Your future is financially bright.
I hope to help other people do that as well. And what I realized going into the Chick-fil-A world is I inherited a team. I was actually in Little Rock, Arkansas for almost 10 years as a franchisee out there. And the first restaurant I took over, I had a great group of folks, but I expected them to help me run a business and manage people and manage finance and budgets. And what I quickly realized is they didn't know how to do that personally. And so we stopped having business meetings and we just started bringing their personal bills into the store, and we would meet and create budgets, and we would talk through like, hey, this is how to do life better. And the business just grew so exponentially under that same leadership.
What a testimony.
Because they had a chance to grow themselves personally. And as a byproduct, we saw business results, but really it was out of a heart of, how do I love and care for this team the best way that I can? And that's how Adulting came out.
The founder of Chick-fil-A, his name?
True, Kathy.
Passed away. At what age was he?
In his 90s, I believe.
Yeah. I remember reading, I may not have, that's coming from memory, so when you're 82 years old, that goes too. But where he taught Sunday school, I think, for 15, 20 years. I mean, even with all of his success. And a young one in his Sunday school class many years later. What do you remember about Kathy?
Oh my goodness. So Truett, unbelievable man with incredible generosity.
Yeah.
I mean, just cared deeply for the people that he worked with and around. And I even had the privilege to meet him and interact with him several times.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, good. This young man said, I don't remember what he taught me in Sunday school class, but I remember him bringing me either a sandwich or some cookies to his house and sitting down with him. He said, I remember that. Isn't that interesting?
Absolutely.
You can give all of your illustrations about Christ and the Bible and whatever, but what did you do personally? It's amazing testimony about his character.
I agree. And his family has embodied that well. And I think that's one of the many reasons for the success of the brand, is that just servant-hearted spirit, and the way that they care for their fellow staff members, the operators, and the team members is truly impactful. And I even write about Chick-fil-A within the book and some of the examples that I see within the brand.
Do you have any idea, you guys, how much business you lose on Sunday?
I think we make up for it on Monday. It's okay.
But I mean, yeah, when you see a Saturday at a Chick-fil-A, I mean, it's lined, 10 times around the building, and you look at that and go, tomorrow there is no Chick-fil-A. You can't get a sandwich. But it's interesting how that is maintained even with his children that took over.
Absolutely. And I think that's a mainstay. It's not going anywhere. And I can confidently say that, knowing personally some of the other people in the family. So we're very thankful for that. And during COVID, we're seeing a lot of burnout in other brands that are now having a day off. And what a blessing it is that we've always had a Sabbath to be able to rest and spend time with families and worship if you choose. And it helps to avoid some of the burnout that we're seeing with some of these 7-day-a-week places.
The interviews that I do, I really pray a lot that these interviews will bring attention to the person of the Lord Jesus Christ. And I have to say, in reading this book, this morning I was going, okay, how are you going to bring attention? I mean, it doesn't give the plan of salvation. It isn't bow your head right now if you're going through this. Although the questions that you have through this book, and I love, I mean, I've used this one back here, the one on page 195, which is the end. It's 30 questions to get to know someone. I mean, I don't know who came up with all of these, but I'm going through and I'm trying to answer them for myself. That would be the price of the book right there. And but the book is not structured for, finding a young person and having them pray the prayer of salvation. Now, why did you go that direction?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Pete and I both work with very diverse workforces. For me, it's different ages, it's different backgrounds, different everything. And so for us, it's really earning the right to be heard by the people that we're around. And that matters a lot to us. So both books are written in such a way as there is very little or if no mention of God or Jesus throughout the entirety of the book. But if you are a believer or Christ follower, you can see that there's a clear biblical worldview lens. And then in the final chapter of both books is our story and who we are and why we believe in this person of Jesus, and how that influences all of the other reading throughout the book. Because I know firsthand that if I gave a book that started out of the gate pushing a message, especially on the demographic we're targeting, they'll toss it away. There's no interest in that. But the desire is after 10, 12, 13 chapters, hey, let me finish reading this book. What else do they have to say? And that's where we have a chance to lay the foundation to say for Pete and I, for book 2, who we are is really based in this person of Jesus.
Did you lay out this format, or did the publisher?
That was Pete and I. It was very intentional.
It's extremely unusual. You know that.
And we desire for the truth and the reality of these books to apply to anybody. And again, to earn the right to be heard throughout it. So with the first book, we talked through budgeting. A budget is a budget. But by seeing how we lay out how our budgeting process works, hopefully by the end of that, they will read and go, oh, so that's why 10% of this is dedicated to giving. And we talk about self-awareness and how to lead yourself. And again, some of the elements do not mention Jesus until the very, very end, but it's written so that anybody can pick it up and you can provide it to somebody that's a believer or not. And it has practical application to them and hopefully earns that right to be heard in the end.
I found a chapter that Pete didn't write. just kidding with you. Chapter 4, and it's lead others, authentic leadership. You talk about a guy by the name of Daryl Walraven.
Yes, Mr. Daryl. I worked with him in Arkansas for several years, and just the most unbelievable individual. And he didn't have a high position of authority or leadership within the restaurant, but the way that he cared for the guests and the team members was so impactful and powerful that he earned this ability to speak truth into these people's lives, both the young people that worked with us as well as our guests, and really cared for and loved and counseled and even provided connection points and helped them get bank accounts. And just even without an official title, he impacted so many lives in that restaurant. It was incredible. And I think that all too often, especially as we launch into careers, we can think of leadership in terms of a title or where we want to aspire to. And here is this incredible gentleman that impacted lives in a profound way without needing all of that.
That's training that you can't teach, right? In
Absolutely.
other words, that was his makeup.
Yes.
When he went into the restaurant and just started that almost like a ministry, right?
To some degree, absolutely. Just he showcased care to everybody that he interacted with. Yeah. And that care translated into this authority figure in their lives that could then make impact in who these team members were.
I know a pastor that had a church in Florida that my son-in-law now pastors, but he retired in Colorado. And you know what he did? Because he got, pastors are always used to going and whatever. Sure. So he got a job at Chick-fil-A as the greeter.
Oh, no way.
Yes. And loved it.
Sure. It is a wonderful experience. I mean, we have people on staff with us and their job is really just to go and care for the guest in the dining room and just check in on them and see how they're doing.
Your chapter 10, Depression Defined. Yes. You have one of the books near you?
I do.
Okay. Turn to 151.
All right.
Page 151. I think I got that right. I got low light here.
I was going to say, if you get too specific, I might struggle with that.
Yeah, 151. Yep. It's Depression Defined. And can you read the bullet points that will you say this is something you need to do, at least begin working on?
So excellent question. And a real quick, if we back up on a high level, so the way that book 2 is structured is we're defining healthy adulthood in the first half of the book. Second half of the book is, hey, what are some challenges that crop up in adult life that even with a clear picture of adulthood can still be very challenging? So we talk through anxiety, depression, loneliness, but Pete and I realized that we are not experts in these areas. So we engaged a team of professional counselors that spoke into the content of these books. So again, we wanted to be very careful to say, like, we are not medical experts, but we had those people help us craft this content. And so for each of the mental health topics, 2 chapters, there's one around understanding what it may be. So what is depression? And we compare it with what is sadness.
Have you ever experienced it?
In my life personally, no.
Okay. It's hard.
But I've been around others that have. And we also talk about, hey, how do you care for people that may be struggling with some of this mental illness? And we have a chance to talk through how do you be a friend or care for those people as well. So we try to be very intentional, say, hey, let's understand it. Let's give some practical, helpful ways to begin to battle that. And then even like, at what point does it go from, hey, you can help yourself to it's time to seek professional help?
Share a few of these bullet points. You don't have to go through all of them.
Sure. So from a defined standpoint, how do you recognize that somebody is depressed? They might have change in appetite or weight. They could have a change in their sleeping patterns. They have fatigue or loss of energy, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, and diminished ability to think or concentrate, slowed thinking or indecisiveness. I will say with toddlers, I have slow thinking constantly, but that's a different issue. And so we try to craft this picture of what does depression look like versus what does sadness look like, and then have another chapter where it's like, okay, so how do you begin to battle this?
Yeah, your chapter 11 is depression overcome, which is what you're after.
Absolutely. And so we realized that a lot of times there is a medicinal side to this. And obviously in this book, it cannot possibly encapsulate everything about depression, but this is a great high level overview. If this is something that you or somebody that you care about is struggling with, you can read through these chapters and go, okay, here are some practical things that I can do to begin helping myself. And then at what point does it move into, I need to go seek professional counseling or medicine as well?
Chapter 12 is loneliness defined.
Yes.
It's kind of interesting how you chose this subject.
And so the why behind that is we have the most connected generation in the history of mankind, and loneliness is at an all-time high on almost everything since we began to measure it. And really, how has this happened and why are we at that point? And so for Pete and I, especially with the youngest generation that's coming up right now, it's like, why are the students that we're interacting with so lonely, and how has it gotten that way? And so we really, again, we try to define it a little bit, and then how do we go about helping these folks that feel lonely to start to engage and move out of that zone?
Would you, we've got about, 4 minutes, Brooke? Take a couple of minutes, if you would, a full 2 minutes. You can go for that. Share Christ with someone watching. They had no idea, that this was going to be an opportunity.
Sure.
And share that just from your heart.
Oh my goodness. So I will say, I'll give a little bit of my story and who I am in that. And so for me, Jesus was a character that was introduced very early on, had a phenomenal family, I was churched growing up. And for me, I was saved or prayed the prayer at an early age, but the reality of who Christ is and how that impacted who I am and really integrated into my DNA took place in college, working with Young Life, which is a nonprofit ministry. So as I was going out,
is that like Campus Crusade?
It's similar. We engage and build relationships with students. Yeah. So very, very comparable in high schools and middle schools. And for me, I realized that I was telling people about Jesus, but what did that reality look like in my own life? And I had a chance to live with this group of guys that this was what they believed in, were sold out to. And I got to see those lives lived out throughout college. And it was such a defining moment for me over the course of that time to say, man, this is who I want to be and be about, and make this foundational for my life. And so it's really impacted who I am from an early age. And it's helped me define my marriage and my self-worth. And so much of book 2 is written, and people are searching for this answer and who they are and what they're meant to be, and how do you overcome sadness or loneliness or whatever it might be. And for both Pete and I, our foundation is in Jesus. And knowing that, it gives us awareness on who we are and who we're meant to be. And it's such a comfort to know that. And so my encouragement is that is absolutely foundational for everything that I am, for what my marriage is, and even how I want to raise my children and run my business.
Have you ever had a young man, woman say, how can I have what you have?
I have, throughout my time with Young Life, very intentional engagements with students and showcasing to them what a relationship with Jesus looked like, and seeing some lives materially changed forever was really special.
It's got to be at least for my life, and I know it would be for yours, I can tell, is to see somebody right before you trust Christ.
Yes.
And that is the foundation for the rest of their life.
It is. And it really answers a lot of the questions of healthy adulthood. If you have that understanding and background and knowing who Jesus is, it answers so many of your questions in your life.
Thank you for this book. You and Pete are definitely intellectual. You guys have it all together. Really, you do. So let me just say, and I appreciate you being here. And
it's my pleasure.
Stay in touch with us. But Jesus Christ is the answer to every need you may have. If you've never trusted him as your Lord and Savior, if you'll confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, Jesus Christ, you will be saved. But you have to demonstrate that by doing it. And I think sometimes we get lost in the thing, well, we need to close this deal right here. No, we don't. The Holy Spirit draws you. And because of what I have said, maybe later on in your life, or in a month, or in a day, or in a few hours, the Holy Spirit draws you and says, you need to trust Jesus Christ today. Don't put it off. It is so important. God bless you. Bye-bye.